Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is, oh goodness me, sorry, I've got a tech issue here. Welcome to Nature Folklore Sessions. It's 5th of September, 2021. Well, thank you all for joining me here. It's our weekly time of exploring our nature-centered folklore, connecting this to within your favorite sanctuary space, and expressing whatever inspired visions come to you from your sanctuary through your poetry, writing, art, crafts, performing, and even problem solving. Now, this afternoon, it's our Harvest Home 2021, the Harvest Home Gathering. There's a nice basket that Bridget Foy brought here a few years ago into the kitchen. And really today is a social presentation. It's celebrating the harvest from your garden. So please feel free to talk about what your garden is producing and what you're bringing in, how you're storing it, preserving it, bottling it, all that good stuff. Drying, of course, a lot of people are drying, canning, racking, freezing. Tell us what you're doing with what you're bringing in from the gardens, which, of course, is very Northern Hemisphere centered, I know. Anyway, this is perhaps going to be the loosest, casual, and possibly the most improvised nature folklore. Who should saw right at the beginning, stuff was switching off. I had to get it switched on again, but we're fine. We'll get through this, and I trust you can see and hear me okay. We do have contributions, some lovely guests who so far they include Scarlett Shed, she's from Cornwall. And then we've got Breezy Kelly. I've been trying to get Breezy Kelly on this show for quite some time. So absolutely thrilled to have her on board. There's Joanne Lindsay Butler from Our Organic Gardens, who's coming on board soon. So that's fabulous. She's going to introduce courses and what's happening in her wonderful gardens there. And we got Linda Rosewood, a popular regular here now as well. So that means we've got a very strong Donegal presence in the show for you today, because Breezy's from near Glentees, Joanne's from Gortna Hook up there on the northwest coast, and Linda, she's from near the Ards Forest, and that's very relevant for what she's going to share today. None of these guests are in the back room yet, so I hope they're okay at logging on, because unfortunately, Donegal being the furthest away from Dublin doesn't exactly have the best internet. As you know, what happens when the furthest away from the central area. You know how that goes, don't you? Well, these nature folklore sessions, I've got the banner going, and it is a little sensitive at the moment. For the sessions here, the nature folklore sessions, also the Carracrory Labyrinth Gardens, although they're kind of at a lull. And someone's coming on board. It's Linda. Oh, that's great. They're brought to you largely through our Patreon subscribers, and some subscribers, I know, regular watchers, you're watching today, but I'm kind of putting in a little more emphasis on this. So excuse me, because there's a couple of things I'm trying to get funded to keep the show on the road. So that's why I'm a bit, apologies for being a little pushy, but it's a little bit necessary. So if you can donate your pound, euro, or dollar a month or so, there's the link whirling around at the bottom. I'll get rid of it in a minute, but there you go. But thank you for your continued support, because without it, I wouldn't be here this afternoon hosting this lovely show for you. So I'll get the glasses on and see who's with us today. It looks like there's a few of you have come on board already. Siobhan's here, which is lovely. Siobhan, hello there. And Alan's quite a regular there from Kildare. He's there. And from the YouTube, we've got the Seven Serpents here. Good morning, watching Virginia, USA. And Kimberly Parada Kilbensky, I'll get to pronounce that right soon. She's regular. Thanks for coming on board again, Boston, Massachusetts. And a lovely regular here. Donna Johnson, good morning from New Mexico. where she gets up very early every Sunday, which is fantastic. And she's got a bucket of prickly pears, which you can only do in New Mexico and the likes. Can't do that here. Cactus fruit, we're juicing up, and it's gorgeous when you prepare it right. Making mead, lots of apples, cutting up and freezing. If you could throw up some photos of that, Donna, that would be fabulous, because we can always share them next week if I can't slip them in just now. So thank you for those of you who've joined us. That's a great start anyway. Now, last year we did have fabulous guests, of course, on the show, and we got a tour around various gardens and their crops that they were harvesting. We had Bridget Foy, we had Kate Burrows, who's actually going to be on next week, Trista Haggerty, and we had Joanne Butler as well from Donegal. But this year I did send out invitations because I wanted to see if I could get more in the way of your photographs, the people that regularly watch, and see what you're doing, and we can share that around, photographs of your gardens, your harvests, and how you're preparing all that sort of thing. But unfortunately, only 2 people responded. One sent 1 photo, and I even forgot to put that out. I'm so sorry. But it was some lovely tomatoes that she had gathered. But I don't know who she is. I don't know how to contact. I was just sent this photograph with no contact. So that one's not on, unfortunately. But the other is a woman in Cornwall, and I mentioned earlier, Scarlet Shed, as what she names herself. She is actually a woman of disabilities, unfortunately, but she has a passion where everything in her garden, everything is in containers, and she gets lovely yields. I don't have any photos of Scarlett. She doesn't like to broadcast photos of herself, but I do have a very short video because Scarlett sent me a set of photos from around her garden, and fresh picked potatoes too. So what she does everything, as I say, from containers, and has a very successful container garden. And I got a little video that I've made. It's just a minute that gives you a few snaps of her wee garden. So here, I'm going to get rid of that banner for you so you can see the full thing. There you go. So we'll give, this is Scarlet Shed. So a wee introduction to the work that Scarlett shows. Sorry we haven't got any personalities with that, but there you go. I think that was quite pretty. And I forgot to show you the pictures of the guests. We've got Breezy Kelly. She's going to be, I think I've got her next. She isn't actually in the back room, but we can do something with her shortly. And that's Joanne, if you're not familiar with her, from Organic Garden. She sent me a message a little while ago that she'll be on board, but she's not here yet. I assume she's around somewhere. And Linda's definitely backstage. I love this picture. There you go. There she is. We've talked about the Janus figure when we talked about the Croms there. And I love this picture. This is a very special one because in my book, The Bathing and Phased Breath, it only just been delivered. We were out there in California, and it was a funny situation where I was sort of shaking because this book was delayed, and we said, okay, we'll have the delivery at the first gig. And me and the UPS man actually went up the steps at the same time. It was that close. Anyway, I think that's a lovely picture. That's one of my favorites of that. So there's some wee pictures there who we got. But Breezy Kelly, we met years ago. I've got the date here, 23rd of September 2007. And at that time, there was a huge protest because the local people, well, there was a lot of traffic, so it had to be dealt with. But the local people came up with a fantastic plan. There's a wonderful railway around there that's not being used. Just open up the railway, and they could have done improvements on the existing road. Oh, Joanne's here. That's great. And so that was the best thing. But of course, it's a money thing, and they wanted to put the M3 through, and it cut through monuments. So there was a lot of protest. And there was the Save the Tara Valley. Now, that white thing that you see there, that's actually people. I think it was about 2,000 people. And I'm at the bottom of the Tower A. I'm at the bottom of the right-hand side. And Breezy's somewhere down on one of the harp strings, I think. Anyway, I met her and got talking to her. And she gave me a fabulous book. She gifted me a wonderful book because she's got Baked Bread for Peace. And I was using it a few days ago, and I can't find it. So sorry that I can't show my copy to you. But if I do, I will post it up. Absolutely fabulous. It was dodgy whether Breezy could be live because her internet is not that great. I said, well, you can come on, you can be audio. If you remember, also from Donegal, we had Sarah Humble, and we had to have her on audio with a picture of her and a wee dog. But anyway, she hasn't got in with us. But I do have a special video of her. Well, she sent me a video, actually. But unfortunately, there was a tech issue with the video that she sent me, and I couldn't edit it in time to present to you today. But I will use it, and it'll be on a later edition. So what I'm going to be doing, I've taken an excerpt out of Breezy's lovely video. She's got it on YouTube. It's about 21 minutes, 22 minutes there. And I've got about 8 to 9 minutes of it. That was difficult because it's a real fun video. It's her in a thatched cottage and Breezy doing what she does. She bakes bread and buns and scones and makes jam. And I forgot. Excuse me a moment. I got a noise in the background. Right, I should sort that out. I forgot. Shows how human this show is. I was doing my laundry in the background there. Which, anyway, I'll slip in a link to the full version of the YouTube of Breezy's video, and it'll be in the comments after the show's finished. But I've also slipped a few of Breezy's photos into the video clip and make it more interesting. So here we go. I haven't got a title to it, but this is Breezy being Breezy. I think you'll get the idea of it. This is some great entertainment for a few minutes. Breezy Kelly from Donegal, Glenties, Donegal for you.
Hello from my home to yours. Well, do you know what? Here I am just getting a scone of bread ready to put into the oven. So bear with me a minute. And then we'll sit down. I'll sit down and have a wee chat for a minute. I'm going to mark the bread before I put it in. And I'm sure you all know why the bread is marked. It's to let themselves out. The fairy folk. And away you go and carry on your good work. Now I'll just stick this in the oven and I'll be back to you. I just dropped in to see you all. I'll only stay a while. I want to see how you're getting on. I want to see you smile. I'm happy to be back again to greet you big and small. For there's no place else on earth quite like the homes of Donegal. Well, do you know what? While I'm chatting, I'm going to have a cup of tea. There I am. Here, a bit of a soda farl that I made earlier. Oh, strange times we're witnessing. Really, really strange times. But we'll make it through. We will. Oops, the heavy hand. The heavy hand. You know, I'm going to tell you about a book that I used to know long ago. Paddy was his name. And Paddy was one of those kind of books that you could neither lead nor drive. He always said that life was too short to be going at it like a mad thing. Take it nice and easy, he used to say. Nice and easy. He used to tell a story about one time he was out standing to the cow, and leaning over the gate, whiling away a bit of the day, watching the cow, doing what cows do. And after a while, this woman comes along on foot and stops to have a chat to him. And she was a married woman, for he knew from the wedding ring on her finger. They're chatting away for a while, and by God, doesn't she say to him, "Is that our bull or a cow?" Well, Paddy says to me, he says, "I wouldn't like to have seen the kind of buck she was married to if she didn't know the difference between a bull and a cow." Do you know, Paddy says the problem today is there's too much education on the people. And he says, he used to say that despite all the books they read, there's still no buck all. He says, do you know, Breezy used to say, there's people going the day and they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a hen and a rooster, and yet they'd be eating eggs. Nor would be able to tell the difference between wheat and barley, and yet they'd be eating bread. Everything's gone upside down, he says. Now, talking of Paddy reminds me of another book. I'm sure some of you will have heard tell of Packy Manasburn. God, that man was something else. And goodness gracious, I used to rake with Packy. And indeed, Faith, I got a lot of songs of him and stories and devilment. For he was full of devilment. There was, as my mother would have said, the devil was nodding at him all the time. But I'll sing you one of his songs, and there's a wee poem of his as well that I would love to recite for you if the words of it will come to me. But anyway, the song, it's... As I roved out on a moonlit night, excitement for to find, I met on the way a pretty little lass, I asked her to be mine, with me to raya, fuddle diddle da. To-raya and fuddle-diddle-duke-diddle-I-do. Well, how will I get to your father's house? How will I get to your bed? Ah, me father locks the door at night. The keys lie under his head. With me to-raya, fuddle-diddle-da. To-raya and fuddle-diddle-duke-diddle-I-do. If you get a ladder 60 feet and 3, place it up to the chimney top, down in the creel to me, with your to-raya, fuddle-diddle-da. To-raya and fuddle-diddle-duke-diddle-I-do. So I got a ladder 60 feet and 3, I placed it up to the chimney top, down in a creel to me, with me to-raya, fuddle-diddle-da. To-raya and fuddle-diddle-duke-diddle-I-do. No rest or peace could her father get till he got up to see, and when he came into the room, there in the bed lay me, with me to-raya, fuddle-diddle-da. To-raya and fuddle-diddle-duke-diddle-I-do. Do you know what? I remember one time I was raking with Packy, and I'm half a century and 7 myself, nearly. So Packy was well over 50 years older than me. Or no, well, I wouldn't be far off it. But do you know, even then, God almighty, I would have lain down with him, and that's the truth. I loved Packy Manus. But that wee poem, I actually haven't recited it for a long time. And if I thought I might say it for you, I would have looked up the words, but I'll give it a shot. Just where the rainbow touches earth, there stands a pot of gold. And one fine day a man passed by and found it, we are told. He took each little golden coin and put it in a sack, and through the meadows hurried home with the sack upon his back. Now in that sack there was a hole where the gold kept dropping out, and through the meadows as he went, it scattered all about. Now a fairy princess saw that gold and quickly picked it up and turned each little golden coin to a golden buttercup. That taggy man is burning. He wrote that himself. So, listen, I want to thank each and every one of you guys, because do you know what? If it wasn't for you bucks sharing our traditions and telling the stories and keeping things lit all the years that you did and still are doing, then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. And you know, we have a debt of gratitude to you. I grew up in a time where children were seen and not heard, and when adults were having conversation that wasn't suitable for children, you were told to leave the room, not asked to, you were told to. But anyhow, Granny, she would be holding court when the family would, you know, my mother's brother and sister, they only came to visit 2 or 3 times a year. It would be a great event altogether. My mother would be baking for days, and the china cups would be out, and the linen tablecloths and all the rest. And Granny, of course, would be holding court. And we children would be allowed to sit in for part of the visit, you see. And Granny often told this story, and as children, we hadn't a bucking clue what it meant. We laughed because the adults laughed, but by God, I had fun finding out later on what it meant. It's about the teacher. She gave to the children for homework that they should write a poem about what they would be when they grew up. So the next day in the classroom, she asked Sadie what she had written. And Sadie had written, "Please miss, my name is Sadie. When I grow up, I'll be a lady. And then perhaps I'll have a baby. I will, I will." "Very good, Sadie," says the teacher. And she moves on and she asks Dan what he has written. And Dan wrote, "Please miss, my name is Dan. When I grow up, I'll be a man. And then perhaps I'll go to China or Japan. I will, I will." "Very good, Dan," says the teacher. Moves around the class, and eventually she comes to Sam. "Sam, what have you written?" "Please miss, my name is Sam. When I grow up, I'll be a man. And bugger China or Japan, but if Sadie wants her baby, I'm her man." So, that brought many's a laugh, and still does. Right, folks, thank you for listening. But the time has come for me to go. I bid you all adieu. For the open highways beckon me to do the things I do. But when I'm travelling far away, I'll ofttimes think of you. And please God, I'll soon return unto the homes of Donegal. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow, that was a bit of Breezy Kelly there, and I see from the comments that some of you enjoyed that. As I'll put a link after the show so you can hear the full 20-odd minutes, but that was a bit of a sampling. And there's Donna. What lovely bread. I'm loving the songs. Yeah, there's more on the longer version, of course. That's great, says Stephanie. And Joey visited Donegal. That's great. Was funny. I don't live in Donegal. I'm quite addicted to the place myself. In 60 years, I must have visited 100, maybe to 150 times. And a lot of that, I had a minibus and doing tours for a while. So, of course, that meant several visits a year just doing that. Sherry's doing some harvesting with a basil, as it's said over there. So that's wonderful that you've joined us. Thank you very much. And we got Kate here. Good morning, Kate. Kate Cloud Sparks, who will be doing some very busy harvesting. That's for sure. Now, with going back with Breezy, you can actually visit Breezy if you're going to Donegal. Again, I'm going to have to put something in the... she doesn't have a website, but you make arrangements. You can get to her. Let's see if I can get it up. Where she is. She's got a page over the half door. It's on Facebook if you look for that, and you can communicate with Breezy through that. She did send things to me in the last minute. Let's see. There's the half door. There's her on the half door at the cottage there. And she sent me a couple of harvesting pictures just an hour before the show. So I've slipped a couple of those in because I think they're very pretty. There you go. And that's it looks like some pie that she's just done there. So thank you all for that, and thank you for being. Sorry she hasn't come on live, as I anticipated difficulties there. But we'll move on. We've got Joanne Lindsay Butler in the background, and I'm always find it remarkable what she and the family fit into a day, fit into a week, fit into a season, fit into the year, and they still find time to go away on lovely holidays as well. And over there at Gordon Hawk, she's got a remarkable garden, remarkable cottage. I haven't got any pictures of that, but the restorations on the outbuildings, I was very impressed with the roof because I worked on something similar to their roof on Iona, so I could relate to that. But Joanne, she runs the wonderful organic permaculture courses, both online and on site. You know, with the restrictions relieved, you can actually go on site now, and she's doing courses there. And she's a very lovely, as you'll find very shortly, very down-to-earth teacher, very easy to learn from. And she shows what works for her, of course, very genuine. Now, as I say, she's in the back here, waiting to come on live very patiently to talk about her courses, show a bit of what she's harvested, and a few surprises, I would say, as well. But first, because I love these little trailers that she puts up. So I've made a medley of 3 trailers as a kind of an input to get started, and I'll get on to them. So this is the trailers for the organic gardens, and then we'll say hello to Joanne. Here we go. I think it will take off. And back to Beezy's bread for some reason. I better get that off. Excuse me a moment. That's so much for the sequencing in there. It looks like Breezy's bread's got stuck there. Here we go. And let's try on board. Hello, good afternoon, Joanne. How are you doing?
Hiya, John. How are you?
Oh, boy.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're looking good, and we can hear you great.
Great, great. So that was a lovely wee trailer, so thank you for showing that.
Well, you made them, so or your crew made them, so that's absolutely fabulous. And thank you for being live. I know we've tried to coordinate this, and I've ended up showing videos and that, so this is lovely. So, as I say, this is an invitation. Have you got something to show us from your harvesting? Because you've got so much going on.
Yeah, like I suppose we had a workshop here yesterday. So for people that don't know, we're based in Northwest Donegal. We're looking right out at Errigal Mountain from the window of the cottage that we live in. And I've been living here for 12 years. And I didn't know anything about gardening or permaculture or anything like that when we started. So it's really been a kind of like a journey for me. But we were running a workshop yesterday, and we were harvesting a lot from that. They took a lot of the stuff with them. But one thing that I do have to show you, I suppose, is our beans that we've got. And these are some lovely beans. It's been a tough year growing this year. I think we had a very, very cold spring, and we were really like waiting for spring, and then summer arrived quite quickly. And then that was very hot. And we had all sorts of problems with bolting and everything. So we're a bit late. Like even my tomatoes are just coming on now. The courgettes have finally kind of started to produce a lot of fruit. I love the fact that there is a national leave a courgette at your neighbour's door and run away day. Because if you grow courgettes at all, or if you know about growing them, they come in abundance. So they're all going to be ready in the next few weeks. But the beans we've been harvesting, we've also been harvesting our main crop, potatoes as well. We got a bit of blight, but we were okay. And then the next thing a job for today we've got is harvesting our onions. So we've got hopefully our year supply of onions, and we'll harvest that, dry off all the onions, and then we have our onions and garlic and root veg throughout the winter. So a lot of work on at the minute, and it's great, and it's great to have the time.
Yes, fabulous. And the one thing, of course, is the Organic Gardens has got the lovely Facebook page, easy to keep up with everything, and includes the details of the courses coming up. And of course, anyone anywhere around the world can join in. That's if it'll come up again, there's the website where you get more information, but I notice it's the Facebook page that's the latest, where you get the latest on that. And of course, you've got the online courses. Can you talk a little bit about how you conduct those? Because they look absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, well, of course, like COVID with everybody else, we went from being in person to start running online classes. And I think like a lot of the work that I do from a personal point of view is not just about gardening, but it's for our mental health. And that's why, I love being in the garden so much, because of what the benefits that it is. So the gardening class, I developed it in a way that I knew that people were kind of, when we were in the lockdown, but this is still all over the world. It's, it's in and out. So it's an opportunity to connect as well as growers, to share your story, to show us your garden. And then I kind of put a little bit of spin on the education as well. So we learn as we go. Every week, this is an autumn winter one. So it's 6 weeks long, and it starts at the beginning of October. There's a Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, and then a Saturday morning at 11. And you can join whatever one you want. But you join in, and then I give a little bit of homework as well. But each week we look at a different month. So we go from October through to February. We also spotlight the vegetable family. So we go through those. And then we just kind of like show us your garden. So each week I would ask people to come on and to give us a little tour around their garden, whether that be live or through their photographs. So it's a great way. I've been talking to like over 400 people now online and doing the classes here from the potting shed. And of course, I've got the chickens up at the background, if I could do that right, up here. And people get to see, the garden in action. And we have a bit of fun as well. So, anybody from all around the world, if you can hook on at that time, you are more than welcome to join and to get to know us, and vice versa.
And how much do the family get involved? Because it's lovely. I see the children sometimes are working away. I often wonder how much of that is volunteer and how much, you don't get the pocket money otherwise.
Barter. Yeah, I think, but that's they've grown up with it now. As soon as they were old enough to get on a little stool here and help me sow the seeds, I think that was really important for me when they were young. I have 3 children. I had 3 under 3.5. So now I've got 11, 12 and a 15-year-old. So they're all of that age now where, we have to do a bit of pocket money or else we can confiscate certain technical equipment. But they do come out and they do help. And the one thing that I love about them, if they're having a bad day and if they're feeling under the weather, which teenagers are, you say, come on out and help me. And you try not to make it look too much like a chore. And, they'll start to say, yeah, okay, this is all right. And then they go, this is actually not bad. I really enjoy the gardening. And by the time that they come back up and we're walking back through the gardening, we're chatting away, we're talking, and we've reconnected, So I think it's really important that they do it. So while it's a chore, it's probably for their huge benefit as well. And I think that's what's important.
Yeah, that's great because some people are wondering, I suppose people are gardeners, how do you get your children involved? I had no problem with that, I must admit, in the past. And although the biggest problem I have now is actually getting the children actually onto the show. And of course, the other thing with you that I find fascinating, and because it is organic gardens, it's focused on the gardens, but every now and again we get to see a little bit of where you live. I haven't got any pictures now, but that's been phenomenal. The construction, you haven't just sort of slapped something together. It's sort of the care on it. Of course, the roof, it got my attention. Oh, goodness. Brought back the memories when I used to hand cut slates from Easdale for the Religoran on Iona. And I thought, wow, that skill is still there. Who did the roof for you?
Well, we had two great builders. We did a self-built kind of, I suppose, there. Our house is a 200-plus-year-old cottage that we moved into there 13 years ago. So we had built it and we had restored it, or we bought it and we restored it. It took us a year. But then, we restored it with a very small budget. And then in 2019, then we had enough money saved and enough slates saved, because we had to collect these slates from all around the area in order to restore the roof. And we did it at the front. We didn't have enough to do the front and the back. So we've got 11 roofs all together. All these, we've got the cottage and then the old outhouses. So we had to put the slates on at the front, and then at the back then what we did is we were doing PVC coated tin, because we want to save all our rainwater and we want to reuse that in the house. So everything that we did when we restored the cottage, we used hemp insulation. We did fibre wood board. We tried to be, as environmentally conscious as we could. And we did all of that. So it was like a long journey to get the slates. But the interesting thing was that our builders, they didn't exactly have those skills. They weren't used to doing they were used to doing the modern way of building houses and doing roofs. So they had to relearn again the traditional way to do them in order to put the slates back up. And they were real. It was a task, all right. I didn't do that part, but getting those big heavy slates up onto the roof. No, John, they start large at the bottom and then they work their way up.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because another reason for interest is because the person who taught me how to do that, although it was the Religoran on Iona, was a man called Charlie McGee from Burtonport, not far away from you, and he was the one that showed. So I had a couple of employees from Donegal. That's how I first came here. Is they used to run not hovercraft, it's similar, a small thing, and it went from Auburn to Mull, Iona, and it went to Malin Head. And I used to put my bicycle on board and visit the people that work for me, and they'd go home for the weekend on this boat. So yeah, it's amazing the skills I learned from Donegal, and it just showed the connection between the two. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I'm going well off the subject here. That's just a personal passion with the building from the past. It reminded me.
You'll have to come up sometime, John, and visit. You have to come up now and visit the house.
I know. My traveling has been awful. And there's a few, even Linda, who's on next. There's another one. Well, all three of the guests, Breezy, yourself, and Linda. I need to get that tour going for all three of you. But anyway, thanks very much for sharing your courses and what's happening with you at the moment. And again, I'll give the comments and I'll put the link up on the comments after the show. But thanks for coming live, Joanne, and I hope we'll see you again. Thanks very much.
And thank you, everybody. All right, John. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks very much. A few comments have rolled in then. And Kimmy Mack enjoyed that. And we got Teresa Falls, who's apparently very local here, from Boyle, so just 10 kilometers from here. And she's saying, hello from Roscommon going on there. She said something else there. Visit the garden. I was going to say something about that a bit later, but I'm not sure. I've been putting it on Facebook. Obviously, with the COVID and my own health situation, we just shut the whole thing down with the intention of opening up on April the 24th, I think it is, next year. And so not at the moment, but I'm looking at the idea of volunteering, because I must admit I'm struggling, because although it looks as if I'm pretty good on air right now, I'm in a situation with the long COVID. I can't walk anywhere. I can't stand for very long, just for a few minutes. So the labyrinth gardens are kind of growing over a bit. So we might do some sort of volunteering event. But when we do that, I love to do the catering as well. You know, this is what we used to do before the COVID. This event, this Harvest Home, we'd have people. I shouldn't put pictures up of events in the past, but we'd have people here be volunteering, we'd be sharing the food, we'll be cooking together. A whole big Sunday is how we used to do it. So it'd be great to get back to something like that, but of course we're still nervous of this big thing that's going around. I did put the Patreon link up, and that does help because there's a couple of equipment issues. I'm trying to keep the paths open, but I can still handle a battery strimmer, but that's actually parts have gone wrong in it. And of course, there's an updated model out, and the old parts are scarce and they're very expensive. So I'm going to be cheeky and put that again, if anyone can help with that. But I think everybody here is actually a subscriber anyway. I tried to put a Facebook thing up, but there's a form that won't go through. Anyway, I'm just sort of putting the begging ball out a bit too much. So excuse on that. Comments. That's it. Here we got Eileen Hinchley Higgins from suburban Chicago. Lovely, proud city, isn't it? Wonderful. Thank you for joining us from there. Oh, I think Breezy's on board. Hello, Breezy. How you doing? Let's see how much we got you here. Hello.
How are you guys?
Hi. I did the video of you, so it's good that everyone can say hello to you. Boy, you're looking very summery today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's actually a beautiful day here in Donegal. It's a little bit overcast, but oh my God, everywhere is beautiful. We've been blessed. And John, I want to thank you for something. I want to thank you for being the weatherman you are. You're the most accurate one that I know. Good man. I even have my daughter following you, and my friend Gwendolyn. And I have a cabin woman here with me today. I have her making shortbread. I'm getting the rhubarb ready for the rhubarb tart. So John, thank you. You're an inspiration to so many of us.
Oh, well, thank you for stopping by and saying hello. I'd like to get back to you a little bit later as well again. Amazing that you've got the weather. I wanted to be outside with this, but we got a drizzle, and I do have a cover. A drizzle would have been okay, but the forecast for here is any moment we could get heavy rain. Maybe we won't till 4 or 5 o'clock, but if all this equipment is out there, then I'm sunk. I have got some better cover on order, so we'll be outside again very soon. Yeah,
John, what I must warn, as I explained to you in a message earlier about the signal here, it's bad or bad.
Good.
And the third one that I found is the worse and far better. So we may get cut off at any time. You know, so just pay attention to that. But I'm enjoying this.
Well, thank you for coming live and showing us a bit. Actually, it looks like you're cutting something up for the crew there. I'm jealous. I'm very jealous. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see if we can come back to you in a few minutes. But at the moment, we got our other Donegal guests. As I say, it's very much a Donegal thing. We got Linda Rosewood live. Let's get lined up for what I'm supposed to get lined up with here. And she lives near Ards Forest in Donegal with a partner, Artemis, and a regular live guest here on Nature Folklore Now. And she has a lovely poetry and her stories. And we tried out a few weeks ago her telling a story from her blog. And if I get the blog up, it's this blog here, because she's over from Santa Cruz I wonder if she remembers Santa Cruz in California, because she's been in Donegal so long. What we did a few weeks ago was brought one of Linda's blog posts live, and I was sort of fumbling around on it. So let's see if I can do it a bit better today. I've got some pictures better lined up, I think. And so it was fun to do that. So we're going to have another go at that today. And anyway, I'll let bring Linda aboard, say hello, and then she can introduce it. How you doing there, Linda?
Hi, John.
Good afternoon.
Well, I do sort of remember California, but this will be my 5th winter in Donegal. So it's been a while. You know that song that Breezy sang, when I first heard that song, I think I got completely captured by this place, and I don't know if I'll ever leave.
I know.
You know the feeling.
It's. I think the lovely thing is the fact you've managed to live in Donegal, and I've so visited it over and over again. And the one thing, even for all the visits, it must be up to 150. I still feel I haven't got to know the place. You know, there's still plenty to see. It's just endless. And I know if I lived there, I wouldn't do so much visiting, because I know in Sligo, I love where I am in Sligo, but I tend to get very. It's such a beautiful spot, as you know, being here. So I tend to get isolated in this spot, and these days I don't get out so much around Sligo, and I think that happens. You don't explore around where you live. So I like to keep the romance of Donegal as the next county, and that's the relaxation. That's the days out, and all the favorite places. But that's great. Anyway, we better get on with your lovely story here, and I'll try and align the pictures. If you'd like to introduce
Sure.
it, and I'll try and line everything up for you.
Okay. Well, like I said, I moved here from California, and in California, the mushroom season starts when the rain starts. And that means that the mushrooms don't really bloom until October or November, sometimes as late as January, depending on when the rain happens. But in Ireland, it happens right at the beginning of the harvest time. So when John said, "Oh, we're having harvest home," I thought, well, all that I can offer, because I don't have a garden, is some of the mushrooms that I see in the forest that's near us here in Marble Hill. So I don't know if the photos will come up, but I'll just start reading my story. So
Let's see how it works.
Yeah. Okay. So I stepped out of my car at the side of the road, and I was disgusted to see that somebody had dumped their bagels out onto the ground. And then I realized that that can't be bagels, because Irish people don't really eat bagels. There's no bagels in Donegal, not in Ards Forest Park. They were mushrooms that looked just like smushed bagels. So I don't know the names of many mushrooms, but they are friendly despite the lack of introduction. The Amanita muscaria bloom everywhere. They don't even seem to be rare. They're sort of rare in California, but they're not rare in Ireland. And if you don't know the Amanita muscaria, you can see them. This is the plutonic solid ideal of a mushroom. Sometimes they get to be as big as dinner plates. And they're just awe-inspiring. When you see them in real life, they just catch your eye in the forest, and at least for me, I can't stop staring at them. In Ireland, I'm meeting new species and new colors. I'd never seen a purple mushroom before.
And we're trying to get the purple mushroom up. There he is.
And there's mushrooms called boletes, which are the next photo, and or maybe that might be like a slippery jack or something like that. I don't know all their names. You don't have to. You don't have to know their names. In the Ards Forest Park, the mushrooms grow on trees. They grow right out of the tree, which I'd never seen before. And that also is just awe-inspiring. Just, 5, 6, 7 varieties of mushrooms growing all around a tree. And mushrooms are tree shepherds. They, you always find them associated with the tree or the plant that they shepherd. So when you get to know mushrooms, you're getting to know plants too, especially trees. And then also, this same day, I saw mushrooms growing on mushrooms. And this is a phenomenon that I had heard about, but I'd never particularly seen this combination, and I found it delightful. There's a very common mushroom And the next picture I see everywhere, and that little red dot is a rowan berry. And the rowans are dropping their red berries at the same time as the mushrooms blooming, and it's spectacular. So the last picture is just my boots and my dog. He comes with me as I go mushroom. I don't forage. I just look. I'm just looking for. So that's all I got. Thank you, John.
That was lovely. Thank you for patiently waiting on for that delightful little bit of. Yeah, I'm glad. I sort of got the pictures in there. So, that was what it was.
Yeah,
thank you very much for that.
I hope people.
Thank you, Linda. That was absolutely gorgeous. And you're looking. Goodness me, I don't know what you've been doing this summer, but you're looking very fresh and young. You're looking a lot younger and very cheerful. You're looking great. So
you great too. I hope to see you in person soon. Maybe the four or five of us could get together from this.
I hope so. Yes. Oh, thank you very much for joining in, and I hope it's not too long before we have you back again. Lots of great subjects coming up. So there we go. It's wonderful there, Linda. All on the mushroom. Sorry, I've sort of slipped here. Anyway, Linda Rosewood, absolutely brilliant with the stories and the poetry there. So lining up, I think let's see what you're saying. That's what I ought to do rather than trying to line stuff up here. Well, Suzanne Vanuta is on board. Loves the mushrooms when she's out walking from Victoria Island, very early there. So thank you for joining in, Suzanne, one of our great subscribers there. And down in New Mexico with Donna Johnson. Mushrooms are so cool, so pretty. So thank you for that. Right. Now, coming up, I think I better talk what's coming up. We're going to go back to Breezy in a moment and have another wee chat. But coming up in Nature Folklore, if I can get some pictures up, 12th of September. It's we've had a string of a couple of social ones rather than the folklore. So we've got tree sanctuaries, and it's lovely to try and keep up. We'll catch up again, like today has been about our harvest. So let's talk about the importance of small woodlands, and especially as I start off these sessions with talking about what is your sanctuary and the whole divination within your personal sanctuary, the visions that you get from it and how you move forward in your life. That's what it does to me. Holy wells do the same thing. But of course, when you're amongst trees, you've got the water that's come up into the trees. So I invite you to submit your poems and little stories and experiences of your little quiet secret place. You might have this in your garden, on your land, your little tree sanctuary. And we'll talk about the importance of the small woodlands in various ways. As a variation, we've actually got Kate Burrows who's going to be on. She's going to talk about her new roundhouse. Though it's not in the middle of trees, it's made with trees. She's got a roundhouse that's been made with the trunks of trees. So she'll talk about that Alan and herself have created, and they're hosting basket making and other courses from there. But please submit your own stories and poems in relation to that as well, and to the trees around you. The trees are your special, maybe secret, cozy place. So message me about that. Message me about your favorite retreat and what you do amongst the trees. We'll see what can get you included next week. It'd be great. You can send me a video clip or a set of photos with some audio, and we'll get it on somewhere how and share it. Anyway, 19th of September, back onto the folklore, if it'll come up. There we go. It's a cheeky photo because we've got Glastonbury Tor and we've got some apples growing at the bottom of the Glastonbury Tor. And because that's what's happening on the 19th, talking about apple folklore and also Avalon stories. So that's a folklore one. That's going to be mainly me, one of those. So That's sort of educational and folklore and stories. But if we got participants with the apples, because there isn't an apple day in Leitrim, at the Organic Central in Leitrim this year. And Leitrim, I've been hearing from people about how wonderful the apples have been this year in Leitrim. So we'll try and get a couple of people with good apple crops to come on board as well. So on the 26th of September, this is a favorite. It's one of the Orme series, and this one's going to be dedicated to stories of the Orme stones. And I'll add a bit more on some different things to what I did last year. And then through October and the first Sunday of November the 6th, there's going to be, November, when we come up to the Samhain according to the sidereal time. That's going to be 6 Sundays, 5 Sundays through October, the first one in November. That'll be 6 Sundays on different Samhain topics. And there's a lot of new stuff coming up on that. So I think you'll find that exciting and a bit of fun, I hope. And then through November, the rest of November, after that first Sunday, we're going to have 3 bardic Sundays. And we'll have Claire with the harps and harp barding as one of those. We'll have her back for that. So let's check your comments again. And then we'll have a chat with Breezy before we finish today. You're having a great session, so hold on for Breezy as well, and see what she's up to. And I'll get that picture off before we start. I always bring people on with a picture, don't I? With a picture stuck. Right, we'll get that off. There we go. And well, it hasn't gone off, has it? All it is just jumping around the screen, that photograph, and it won't go away. You say, I don't want to go away. Right, we're not going to have you stuck there until the end of the month. Anyway, here's Breezy smiling and laughing away there, and we haven't lost the signal. Right, yes. Hi again, Breezy. It's lovely you stayed on live. It looks like you're in a different part of your cottage there.
Come here till you hear me looking at you, John. Am I visually? Can people see me?
No, I can see you when I take you off the screen.
No, that's all right, because
I had great fun watching you do the Sheenan and gig impersonation, but apart from that, I won't tell anybody.
Or the devils are packed into you sideways, John Wilmot.
All right. Do you have anything else to show us there today?
Look, I'm just finishing the rhubarb tart.
Oh, brilliant. Let's get you up on this.
John, you know, as I said in the wee clip that I sent you, when I went looking for apples, you know, and the orchards that, as I say, we robbed when we were Waynes, all gone, John. You know, but anyhow, as I said, went up to Dorian Farm, that's the local organic farm, and my God, John, everything we wanted, just beautiful stuff. I love this time of year. I love the harvest time of year. Are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm listening and watching, and I'm one of the audience at the moment.
So I'll listen to you. What should we talk about, John?
I was just curious. As I say, I was just seeing what you're up to. It was a little curiosity, and it's lovely that you've been able to come on live. We've got Cathal come on just here. He's John, very much like, yeah. Oh, you got something, yeah.
I have a wee poem.
Hi, Cathal.
That I would like to read to you if there's time.
Oh, definitely. Yes, definitely.
It's called Reflection in Autumn, and it was written by actually a cousin of mine, a wonderful poet, Deirdre Devine. You might have heard of the McGrorys of Kildaff. She would have been, McGrory would have been her maiden name. But yes, lovely. This is from a lovely collection of poetry called Beginning, a spiritual journey in poetry. And this is Reflection in Autumn. Nothing belongs to us. The chrism rust of a tree in the garden, speckled with berries of honeyed rust, will fall and feed the soil. Branches will mourn for a while the bone of their emptiness. Then rejoice at a new blossoming, freshening the growth that the dust of the dead chrism fed. Nothing belongs to us. All is a summer, an autumn, a winter, a spring. Deirdre Devane.
Ah, that's beautifully
Reflection.
read, Breezy. That's beautifully done.
Yes,
Well, thank you for, as I say, I did take the excerpt from your older video. We'll show your one you sent me. I will edit it in because it is a bit tech, with the, as I was explaining, when someone sends in portrait, to adjust so that it actually fits on the screen, I have to do a bit of work. So it's something for people to look forward to. But really the icing on the cake, which is very appropriate, is having you live. So thank you for having you for a few minutes to add the jollity and fun. And I suppose it really brings in the theme of the harvest gathering. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
It's great. We'll get you back again soon. Now that we know this works.
Okay, listen,
can be
once
good.
Again, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Breezy. Thank you.
And remember, John, a kind word never broke a tooth. Talk to you soon.
Very good. Talk to you. Thank you very much for that. Breezy Kelly, what an honor to have her on board. And Suzanne Vanetta, I did. Thank. Sherry is busy with her basil. Busy taking. I know it's a long job. It's time for the herbs, and time certainly with drying is certainly a lot of work with that. And I've got to do that myself. The whole of October, the dryer's on. It doesn't stop, does it? That's cheating. I know the using the dryers. People did use their ovens before, but I'm very good at burning things in ovens. So the dehydrator works for me. And so maybe you can share your dehydrator experiences as well as we move on through the month. So thank you all. It was fabulous today. Thank you again to we had the amazing guests. We kicked off with the video of Scarlet Shed. We had Breezy Kelly on a couple of times. Fantastic on the video. Joanne Lindsay Butler, absolute treat to have her introduce us to our organic. And Linda Rosewood with bringing one of her blog posts alive with the mushrooms. So if you're watching this broadcast as an archive video, please comment as well. I'm going to be making comments in a minute. I keep coming back in the week and answering comments. People are watching a lot in the evenings and the following day. In fact, during the summer, there's a whole new trend. In winter, we often get a large audience in live. But I've noticed through the summer what's happened is most people have been listening later, and the figures have actually gone up. I think in the winter we were getting about 200 or 300 viewers, but now we're getting about 1,500 views in the course of the week. But most of those are actually not live; they're watching the recorded. So it's great. So thank you very much, whichever way you do it. I will return from time to time to answer comments. Please subscribe as well using the bell icons on YouTube anyway. And that reminds you of the details of each Sunday as they're coming up. What have I got to say? I think I've covered it. You haven't got any other comments there. So it really is down to me wishing you an absolute fabulous, enchanting week. I think we're going to have some lovely weather again next week as well. After a little bit of needed rain falls this evening and tonight. So it's going to get quite warm. So it's actually a birthday week for me next week. So it better be good. We've had some nice picnics on that day. So enjoy a safe week, full of wonder, inspirations, and enchantments. So until next Sunday, I think that's all we got with the lovely guests, and we're almost on time. So thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you very much.